What's up, guys, and welcome to your favorite podcast show. This is Save the Date by Wedos. And you know, of course, Wedos, for the whole event industry, they hold us down and they make it happen. I'm here with two amazing people, and of course, my name is Reginald Ajete, and I'm holding it down today. So they're going to introduce themselves and tell us what they do, and then we get to connect.
All right, hi people. The name is Joseph, but I mean on the streets you can call me Ebusia. I'm the concept developer and founder for SOMA, the School of Marriage. That is an institution that was set up in 2017 to introduce the concept of schooling when it comes to marriage. The way you prepare to become a medical doctor, the way you prepare to become a military person, the way you prepare to become a project manager, the way you prepare to become a scientist. We strongly believe that we need that necessary preparation before we enter into marriage. So we came up with the concept or the idea of setting up an institution that teaches you how to get married, what it takes to marry, and what marriage is about before you enter into that institution. And so that's me, and I'm glad to be here. It looks exciting, and we hope that by the time that we are done, something great is going to happen.
Absolutely.
Okay, hi, I'm Yvonne Blasu. I'm the creative lead for Black Opulence. Black Opulence is an event management company. We are into planning, coordinating, event styling, event designing, and consulting. So, yeah, that's it.
So, like, from the base, just like he said, on the base of knowledge, you know, when anybody's getting married, when a couple comes together and they have to get married or they are getting married, how do you settle, or how do we settle couple disagreements?
Okay. I would lend my professional advice as to if it's about budgets. Maybe, let's just say it's about budget. The lady wants something lavish, and the guy wants something low-key. First and foremost, who is footing the bill? The majority of the bill. If it's the guy, then he has to put his foot down. If it's you, the lady, then he has to understand that I want a Cinderella wedding, and I would move heaven and earth to make it happen. You can just give me what you want, and I would bring the rest. But then it has to be an understanding. You don't have to trample upon his thoughts or his opinion just because you are the one paying. And if it's your parents and they want to splurge you, why not? Go for it. But then, don't let this become a problem. So you should always try to understand each other. Talk about it, discuss it before you even start. Okay. Discuss some of these things before. Set your tone for what you're going to do. Because once you start, no matter what, if you have a budget of 50,000, by the time you start planning, things are going to pop up that you didn't think about. Your mom is going to come and tell you, Charlie, you have to buy gele, and the gele has to be this way. So, and that's costing maybe extra 5,000 that you didn't plan for. So you have to set the tone, and you have to know where you draw the line when it comes to some of these things. Yeah, everything can be solved. Everything can be settled. If you are interested in settling, you can settle it.
Wow. Let me just say this in passing. How do you find the root cause of the misunderstanding? Because sometimes you know, the guy thinks this is where the problem is. The lady might think this is the challenge I'm going through. So as a planner who is on board and trying to, you know, get the people to be together, because it's a union, and there's a saying that goes this way: two cannot walk together except they agree. So how will we work on finding the root cause and then solving it, and then we can advance?
That's communication. Communication. Because if I have something in my head and I don't tell the next person, he wouldn't know what's going on, and he will also have something different going on in his head, and then we all come and start butting heads. If you sit down and you talk to each other, you actually actively talk and listen to each other. Some of these problems wouldn't even pop up. So communication. And if I have to come in as a planner, I can only communicate the right path to take. I can't force you, I can't drag you, I can tell you, I can educate you, and then you just listen, and then we take it up from there. So it's communication.
Sure, there's something you want to add to that?
I think it's an interesting question, and for me, even before how do we solve it is the issue. Why do people in the planning stages, why do these disagreements and conflicts come in or come up? And I think that's what we need to interrogate a little bit more before we go into the solving the solutions. Because if you don't know the root cause, like you asked, of a problem, it will be difficult to solve the problem. So it's fascinating that a lot of people from our examples or the experiences we've had, a lot of couples have some of their most intense arguments or conflicts when it comes to the planning portion of the marriage. And there are many factors that come in and causes that. But one of the key things we observed that causes that rift is because the people from the very beginning do not know what they really want.
Okay.
They think they know what they want.
Can you elaborate?
Yes, they think they know what they want.
Okay.
So if you observe, I said they don't know what they really want. Two people come together to get married. And from the very beginning, in the marriage ceremony, it is not our marriage. The thinking concept is my marriage, my marriage. So
that's from an
individual perspective.
It has to be
our marriage.
Okay.
Do you get it? So the lady is thinking about how I want my wedding to be. And the guy is thinking about how I want my wedding to be.
Oh.
That is what brings the conflict from the very beginning. If from the very beginning it's like, it's our wedding, there's less conflict.
Sorry, I'm not cutting you. But it has to be my wedding and your wedding before we sit down and make it our wedding.
Beautiful. So this is how the conflict comes about. You get it? So even before the sitting down, it shouldn't be my wedding, or the whole concept should be our wedding. You get it? And that is one of the fundamental things that actually bring conflicts, because conflict basically is a disagreement between two people. Right. And the disagreement means that I have a different opinion or mind to what you have pertaining to the issue that the conflict is about. Right. So now observe the situation. What is the conflict about? The wedding.
He's coming from a different background. You're also coming from a different background. So you have to be able to compromise. Okay, he likes to wear red shirts on Saturday. I hate red on Saturdays. Okay. But then, do you love him enough to let that go? So it is really not about you and not about me. It's about us. Do we both understand that it's about the two of us? We are talking about two people now and not me personally. Yes. So, like he said, when I was growing up, I read a lot of fairy tale books. There were a lot of weddings, Cinderella weddings, and all of that. We all have that, the pumpkins and the mouses and all of that. So he grew up probably playing Ben 10 or whatever. Right. He doesn't have a clue what he wants his wedding to be. All he knows is he wants to marry me. And I have all these fairy tales. I have scrapbooks of wedding gowns and all that I want to wear. But initially when he proposes, it's my wedding. I have proposed to you. Now it has to be our wedding. You have to sit down and you have to talk about it. That is where you decide, okay, let's not do this, let's do this. So now we are streamlining your wedding and my wedding to our wedding.
Perfect. And that's where the conflict comes in, because I have a background of, let's say I'm married at the age of 25, or in our modern times, let's say 30. I have 30 years experience of what I think the wedding should be. My partner has another 30 or 28 or 29 years experience of what he or she thinks the wedding should be. It is not going to take 2 months or 6 months for me to move from that place to say that what I've been dreaming of forever.
No, but you should be able to move from there.
Has there been an instance where you've recommended maybe a counselor or maybe a pastor or a teacher to a couple, and you're like, you guys, you know what? I need you to visit this counselor, sit with him for about an hour, and let's trash this issue out, so we could get to the foundation of it and then solve it.
Yeah. Okay. It hasn't happened personally, but it's also a way to go when you want to resolve. When you've tried everything and it's not working, you probably want to seek a professional help or a religious help, depending on what their beliefs are. So yeah, it can be done. It's part of the resolution. Yeah.
So maybe to add up to that, going into it, I was talking about one of the reasons for the conflict. Maybe let me touch on one also that I think may be finances. If the event is an event, it's an event. An event takes money. Do you get it? The whole concept of the wedding is a money issue. So if you are getting into the marriage and you have all the money, whatever fantasies you have, you can achieve it.
Okay.
So you observe again that one of the core reasons why there are conflicts in the early stages of the marriage or when the two come together is because of the finances. If the lady has everything she has, why can't she achieve her fantasy? If there's no financial problem and there's still conflict, then you come to ask that what then is the issue of the conflict. So it may be that maybe the guy or the girl has an ideology about wedding, or what they think the right wedding should be. But basically, finances affects the conflicts or comes in a lot. If the man also can pay everything, we don't worry about whatever your partner is thinking about. Like if she says she wants to go to the moon, you can pay for the rocket flight, so you don't even have that conflict on it. So finances for a lot of the marriages is one of the core things that brings in the conflict. Aside the first one that I shared with you, that individuals do not yet understand that the wedding is not mine or yours, it is ours. So these are two things. And yes, anytime there are times when, like she said, if the couple to be are not getting any heads way, you actually have to tell them that go see this person, go see a counselor, go see a teacher, somebody older. And I even usually recommend that go see, first of all, your parents, unless you have bad parents. But generally, most parents, want you to get
So
married.
I think you are mostly talking about marriage, and this is about wedding planning before the marriage.
Yes.
So in wedding planning, it's good to get the parents involved sometimes. But trust me, they'll drill you. So before you go to the parents, make sure that whatever you're taking to them is not something that has to do with traditions. Because when it comes to traditions, they are set in their way. And if this guy is my son and whatever he's arguing for has to do with our traditions, they will definitely make things murky. Because he's bringing their beliefs onto the board, and you are disagreeing, and your parents are also backing you. So if my mom is here and your mom is here, there are going to be heads being backed. So something like that, bring someone neutral.
But that's
depends on the problem. If the problem is something that the parents can help you with, yes, go to them. But avoid them as much as possible. Family and friends, when it comes to wedding planning, try to avoid them.
Okay, so I think that's very interesting because the wedding, is it about the two of you or is about the families? It's fascinating, the concept that in the marriage, that if you are in contextualizing it in our country, most of the marriages are family marriages, and so especially here in Africa and in Ghana. Even out there, it's a family thing.
Marriages are two families marrying each other, even though it's two people just you are uniting two families. So no matter where in the world.
So the question I wanted to throw at you, because of the feedback you gave, was why should you not involve the family in the planning? Because you are not marrying yourself alone. You are marrying into the family. And I'm
marrying into the family. I'm not marrying the family. I'm marrying into the family. I'm marrying you, part of a family, not the whole family.
Let me finish. That is a very strange understanding of marriage, because let's say you want to have two guests.
Two guests, okay.
And it is not a wedding you are going to do at
registrar.
And it's not a wedding you are going to do at Registrar General where you are going to sign. And then you are expecting your family. You are going to marry the person at home. Can you two decide you want to have two? You can't. What I mean is, I'm bringing in the context of the marriage about the fact that it involves more than two people, and the conflict is easier from our perspective, easier solved if the relevant parties within the marriage that you are going to, because remember, you are planning a wedding event, okay, and then the wedding event is not just the two of you, unless you are going to sign. That wedding event, your families are going to come in, your friends are going to come in, your bridesmaids are going to come in, your aunties you never heard of are going to come in, and we know that all these people influence the final decision. Because again,
No, they don't. So
Okay.
before your bridesmaids and everything, it's still your choice, the two of you. I can decide, or we can decide to get married without bridesmaids or groomsmen. Like he said, we can decide to go to the courts and then just sign. And even then, your mom and your dad are going to be witnesses. Are going to be witnesses. So it is not really about the family when it comes to wedding planning. It's about the two of you.
Right. Time is not really our friend. So real quick, I want you guys to share a quick idea about how to resolve the challenge with regards to planning. So, if you can just give us a line of what you think a couple should do anytime there's a challenge like that. Real quick, let's have the liner and then we sum it up.
When it comes to wedding planning,
episode.
how to resolve some of the conflicts, get to know the root of the problem.
Okay.
And then try and communicate, set deadlines.
Absolutely.
If you feel like your partner is not doing as much, give him rules or give her rules or things to do. And talk and compromise. That's it.
That's a good one.
I think the first thing is agree as to the wedding you want to have. That's the basic thing. I mean, if there's an agreement as to we are going to have a traditional wedding, that is where it starts from. So I would say that the best thing to avoid any conflict or to solve any conflict is come back together if you are in the problem, or if you've not, what wedding do we want to have? You get it? Once you can agree on that, 90% of the conflict is reduced.
Wow. So it's been another beautiful edition right here on Save the Date with Wordos. And I trust you took some great notes on here. Thank you. See you in the next episode.